there's a deeper need inside every man that goes far beyond physical intimacy, version of me. And most women don't even realize they hold the key to fulfilling it. It's the need to feel emotionally safe. That may not sound exciting or passionate as sex, but for a man who spent his life wearing masks, carrying pressure, trippy version of me, trying to be the strong one, emotional safety becomes the one thing he silently longs for. When a woman can offer a space where he doesn't have to perform, pretend, or prove himself, she becomes more than just attractive. She becomes irreplaceable. A lot of men are taught to suppress their emotions, to hide their fears. Version of me, to never show weakness. They've been told to be providers, protectors, achievers, but not feelers. So they build walls. Version of me. They learn how to keep people at arm's length. But deep down, they crave someone who will see them without judgment. Someone who won't flinch at their vulnerability. And when they find that in a woman, it disarms them in the best possible way. Suddenly, version of me, they don't need to impress her. They just want to be real with her, version of me. This kind of connection doesn't come from fixing his problems or constantly cheering him on. It comes from presence, from being the person who listens, not with an agenda, but with genuine interest. Happy version of me. From being the one who doesn't overact when he's honest, who doesn't weaponize his openness later. Version of me who doesn't confuse strength with silence. When a man feels emotionally safe, he starts to show up in ways he never has before. He communicates more, he trusts more, he loves more fully. Emotional safety also means he doesn't fear rejection when he opens up. So many men keep things inside not because they want to be distant, but because past experiences taught them that vulnerability leads to criticism or abandonment. When a woman shows him that she can handle his truth, even the messy, unpolished parts, he begins to associate her with peace, with acceptance. And that emotional experience becomes more addictive than sex could ever be. None of this means lowering your standards or becoming someone's emotional crutch. It means responding to his emotions with empathy, not shame. It means being curious rather than reactive. It means allowing space for imperfection without making it mean he's unworth. A man who feels this kind of freedom in a relationship doesn't take it for granted. He cherishes it because in that space, he finds more than just love. He finds relief. He finds home. So while the world tells women to be sexy, to be desirable, to keep a man's attention through looks or performance, the truth is far more powerful. The woman who gives a man emotional safety doesn't have to fight for his loyalty. He wants to give it, version of me, because she becomes the one place where he can breathe without armor. And once he's had a taste of that kind of connection, thappy version of me, there's no going back. There's a unique kind of power in giving someone your full attention. Noppy version of me, not the surface level kind where you're nodding while thinking about something else, version of me, but the kind that makes the other person feel like they're the only one in the room. When a woman brings that kind of presence into a conversation with a man, it creates a connection that goes far beyond anything physical. It makes him feel seen, not for his achievements, not for how strong he appears on the outside, but for who he truly is. And that feeling, version of me, that moment of being deeply acknowledged, is something he quietly craves more than anything else. Version of me. Men aren't always great at expressing this need. They've been taught to keep things guarded, to stay cool. Happy version of me, to power through and keep it light. But underneath all of that is a real hunger to be understood. When a woman chooses to listen, not just hear, but you really listen, without interrupting, without planning what to say next, without version me, without judging, it disarms him, it takes down his walls. P version of me. It allows him to step into a version of himself that he doesn't show to just anyone. Attention like this isn't about flattery or praise. It's about being present enough to notice the small things. A shift in his tone, a hesitation in his words, something unspoken between his sentences. When a woman picks up on those cues and responds with empathy instead of advice, with curiosity instead of criticism, something changes. He feels safe, he feels important, and most of all, he feels understood. That kind of presence is rare because it requires the woman to not be distracted by trying to impress, not to be focused on what she's going to say next, but to actually slow down and be there. In that space, men find a kind of emotional rest they don't often experience. The pressure to perform fades, and in its place, they get to just be human. Version of me. And that vulnerability, when it's met with warmth instead of judgment, creates a deeper kind of intimacy than anything physical ever could. It's easy to overlook how powerful this is because it's so quiet. It doesn't come with fireworks or drama, but it lingers. Version of me. A man remembers how he felt when he was with her, not just how she looked or what she said, but the way she made him feel like he mattered, not for being perfect, but for being real. And once he experiences that, it becomes something he values more than surface level attraction or even sexual chemistry. Happy version of me. It becomes something he wants to protect and hold on to. When a woman brings that level of attention into her connection with a man, she communicates something without even trying. You're safe with me. Happy version of me. You don't have to be anything other than yourself here. And for a man, that's not just comforting. It's magnetic, because in a world that constantly demands more from him, she becomes the one place where he feels enough. Version of me. And that's the kind of connection he won't ever want to lose. There's something deeply compelling about a woman who knows exactly what she will and will not tolerate. Not in a harsh, aggressive way, but with quiet certainty and unshakable self-respect. When a woman has standards and boundaries, she sends a message to the world, and especially to any man in her life. Happy version of me. I value myself. And here's the truth. Men are drawn to that far more than they'll ever admit. Version of me. Because a woman who doesn't need them, who chooses them but doesn't depend on for her sense of self-worth, becomes a mystery they want to earn. A lot of people confuse standards with being high maintenance. Version of me. They think that setting boundaries pushes people away. But the opposite is true. When a man sees that you're not afraid to walk away from something that doesn't serve you, he pays attention, he respects you. Why? The version of me. Because you respect yourself. You don't chase validation. You don't beg for crumbs. Version of me. And you certainly don't settle for less than you know you deserve. This is where a powerful shift happens. The moment a woman stops trying to be chosen and starts choosing, she steps into her power. Version of me. She's no longer waiting for a man to pick her. She's evaluating whether he's worth her time, energy, and heart. Version of me. And that evaluation process, that's what pulls a man in. Because now he's not just getting attention for showing up. Version of me. He's being challenged in a good way. He's being asked to rise to meet the level she operates at. Boundaries aren't walls. Version of me. They're filters. They don't keep love out. They let the right kind of love in. Version of me. A woman with boundaries is clear about what feels good and what doesn't. She doesn't tolerate mixed signals. Happy version of me. She doesn't make excuses for poor behavior. She doesn't overextend herself just to keep someone interested. And in doing so, she teaches the man how to treat her, not through lectures or ultimatums, but by how she shows up and what she walks away from. What's so attractive about that is the security it gives a man. It might sound backwards, but when a woman respects herself enough to say no, to take space when needed, to hold someone accountable, she becomes someone a man can trust. Trust to be honest, trust to be consistent, trust to hold him to a higher standard too. That's the kind of relationship that feels like a partnership, not a performance. And here's what most people miss: boundaries create freedom. When both people in a relationship know where the line is, they can relax. They don't have to guess, manipulate, or everything is clear. That clarity builds trust. And with trust comes real intimacy, the kind that lasts far longer than chemistry ever could. So yes, a version of me. A woman's boundaries may scare off the wrong men, but they magnetize the right ones. Version of, because the right man isn't intimidated by her strength. He's inspired by it. Version of me. And he'll rise to meet her not because he has to, but because deep down he wants to. There's an undeniable allure in a woman who doesn't reveal everything at once. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, mystery is a lost art. But for a man who's truly looking for something meaningful, version of me, it's not the loudest or most obvious woman who captures his heart, it's the one with depth. And version of me, the one who doesn't lay all her cards on the table, not because she's playing games, but because her life is full. Her soul is layered. Happy version of me. And her story is still unfolding. That kind of mystery doesn't confuse a man. It keeps him coming back for more. What many women don't realize is that availability, while important, can easily tip into predictability. And when something feels too easy, too immediate, it loses its intrigue. A woman with a rich inner world, a woman who reads, learns, explores her interests, protects her energy. That woman becomes captivating. Not because she's trying to impress anyone, but because she's already impressed with her own life. And when a man meets her, version of me, he feels like he's being invited into a universe that he doesn't fully understand yet, but wants to explore. Men are naturally curious, version of me. It's not just about looks or even conversation, it's about the feeling that there's always something more to discover. The woman who has passions beyond the relationship, who maintains frips, hobbies, goals. That woman makes a man want to know her, not just you be with her. And knowing her becomes an ongoing process, not a one-time event. He starts leaning in. He starts listening closer. Version of me. He starts wondering what she'll reveal next. Not because she's hiding, but because she's full of life and doesn't need to give everything away to be seen. It's tempting to want to fast-track connection, to overshare, to prove you're open, to show how much you care early on. But often, real version of me, real intimacy grows in the space in between what's shared and what's left to be discovered. Version of me, when a woman lets a man earn her story piece by piece, it deepens his investment. Version of me, he's no longer just spending time, he's building trust. And when she slowly lets him into the deeper parts of her, confident, those moments matter far more because they're not handed out to everyone. That kind of depth, that kind of mystery, version of me creates a tension that's not about playing hard to get. It's about being whole on your own. Version of me. It's about showing a man that your life doesn't revolve around who texts first or how often you see each other. It's about radiating the kind of quiet confidence that says, happy version of me. I'm happy with or without you, but I'd love to share this with you if you're the right person. Mystery doesn't mean distance. Version of me. It means not giving everything away up front. It means knowing that the most magnetic parts of you aren't always the most visible. Version of me. And when a man feels like there's always more to learn about you, not just your past, but your passions, your thinking, your soul, that's when connection turns into desire. Not just physical, but emotional. And that kind of desire doesn't fade. It grows. One of the most overlooked desires in men is the need to feel believed in, not just liked or admired, but deeply believed in. When a woman sees beyond where a man is right now, version of me, when she looks at him and sees what he could become and treats him in a way that reflects that belief, it taps into something primal inside him. Every man has a vision, even if it's buried beneath fear or doubt. And when a woman holds space for that vision and gently nudges him toward it, she becomes a force he can't ignore. Version me. It's not about fixing him. It's not about pushing him or telling him what he should be. It's happy version of me. It's about creating an environment where he starts to believe more in himself simply because she does. Version of me. A man can receive praise from the world, but it doesn't land the same way as when it comes from the woman who knows him intimately. Belief hits differently. It sticks. It fuels him. It drives him to step up, not out of obligation, but because he wants to live up to what she sees in him. This belief doesn't mean overlooking his flaws. In fact, it's the opposite. It means seeing the full picture, his mess, his potential, his doubts, and his brilliance, and choosing to believe anyway. The version of me, that kind of support isn't loud. It's not always in grand gestures. Sometimes it's in a quiet, I see more in you than you see in yourself right now. Or a calm, you've got this version and I'll be here when you do. That subtle strength becomes his fuel, and not just in his goals, but in how he shows up for the relationship too. A man who feels believed in by a woman will want to protect that energy. He'll want to rise to meet it. Version of me, because no one wants to disappoint the person who stood by them before the breakthrough. He'll work harder, love deeper, version me, and commit more fully, not because he's being manipulated or pressured, because something real is being nurtured. Version of me. It's a partnership built on potential and purpose. This kind of belief isn't blind either. It's not about ignoring red flags or tolerating excuses. Happy version of me at discerning the difference between a man who's stagnant and a man who's still growing. And when a woman chooses to invest her emotional energy into someone who's evolving, her support becomes transformative. Version of me, because it affirms to him that he's not alone in the journey, that someone is walking beside him even when the world isn't watching. Men won't always articulate this need. Many won't even realize how much it matters to them until they experience it. But once they do, version of me, it changes how they see love. It's no longer just about chemistry or compatibility. It's about legacy, a version of me, about who they become when they're with you. And when a woman becomes the mirror that reflects a man's best self back to him, a version of me, she becomes unforgettable, not just because of who she is, but because of who she helped him become. Version of me. There's something magnetic about a woman who fully embraces her feminine energy, not in a way that seeks attention, but in the way she carries herself with quiet confidence. She doesn't chase. She doesn't compete. She simply is. Happy version of me. And that presence alone is powerful. It's not about makeup or style, though those things may reflect it. This confidence is internal. It's the way she walks into a room knowing she doesn't have to prove her worth. She already knows it. Version of me. Men are naturally drawn to this kind of woman, not because she's the loudest or the most outgoing, but because she's grounded. She's not rattled by what others think. She doesn't shrink to make others comfortable. She doesn't demand attention. She commands it. There's no desperation in her energy. Happy version of me, and that's exactly what makes her irresistible. She's like gravity. You feel it without her needing to push or pull. What makes feminine confidence so powerful is that it doesn't come from comparison. It's not about being better than anyone. Happy version of me. It's about being fully aligned with who you are. A woman who embraces this knows she can be soft without being weak. Volpe version of me. Vulnerable without being naive. Kind without being taken for granted. Happy version of me. And in a world that often teaches women to harden themselves in order to be respected, her softness becomes a bold act of strength. Version of me. This kind of woman doesn't need to shout her standards. She embodies them. A man knows from the way she speaks, how she carries herself, what she chooses to entertain. Version of me. She doesn't chase attention because she knows it's not about quantity. It's about quality. The right people will be drawn to her energy without her having to convince or perform. And for a man, that's refreshing. That's grounding. That's different. Confidence in a woman also gives permission. It allows a man to show up in his own strength without fear of being diminished. It creates balance. Version of me. She's not trying to outmasculine him. She's not trying to control or compete. She stands tall in her lane and allows space for him to do the same. That kind of polarity sparks chemistry, yes, but it also builds respect. Because when a man sees a woman who respects herself, he learns how to respect her too. Happy version of me. A woman who trusts herself doesn't need to test others. She doesn't play games because her energy already sets the standard. And when a man steps into that energy, he doesn't feel manipulated. He feels challenged in the best way. Not to change who he is, a version of me, but to bring forward the version himself that can stand beside her, not above or beneath her. In the end, Femp version of feminine confidence isn't about dominance or control. It's about self-trust. Happy version of me. It's about a woman walking through life knowing that she doesn't need to force anything meant for her. She just needs to remain rooted in who she is. And when a man meets that kind of woman, he doesn't just desire her. He respects her, grows with her, and never forgets her.